David Rogers. I am currently in the process of unraveling an array of spiritual ideas that I have taken on board over the last couple of decades. I realized that one big idea that I accepted without really looking into it was, advances in quantum physics are bringing science and spirituality together. We are seeing how consciousness creates the world around us. I can find lots of spiritual information about this online, and we all like to quote the double-slit experiment as proof. I cannot find anything to debunk it. I have on several occasions pulled this one on scientists, and then shaken my head at them when they got angry. They were so close-minded, they just didn't get it, man. LOL. Does Scientology use this line too? I would love to see you have a discussion with a scientist and take critical thinking to this. Alright, here's the problem with the whole quantum mechanics, quantum physics thing, and spirituality, and Deepak Chopra, and every other New Age guru who thinks that they have some way of talking to people about quantum mechanics and quantum physics and relating that to consciousness and spirituality. Here are the two things about that make that entire thing, make the entire New Age spirituality aspect of that totally moot, totally faith-based, and completely nonsensical. Those two things are, one, quantum mechanics are not understood by people who work at it all day, every day, which is probably why scientists get a little pissed, because they know that this is a field that is new in the area of science, and by new I mean it's less than 100 years old. It is very, very theoretical. It's not like you can do an experiment by looking in a microscope or something and seeing the little, seeing the little mechanics of it. It doesn't work that way. It's much, much, much more advanced. And Richard Feynman, who is one of the leading quantum physicists of our time, specifically said, this is not a direct quote, but basically said, if anyone who thinks they understand quantum mechanics doesn't understand quantum mechanics. It is a very, very non-intuitive, difficult to understand any part of it kind of science, and it's fresh and it's new and it's being figured out. So when real quantum mechanics experts and scientists who themselves know how little they know about it hear some idiot like Deepak Chopra go on about how quantum mechanics proves consciousness, of course they get pissed, because it's a horrible bastardization of their work. It doesn't enter into consciousness in any way, as I understand it, and I don't understand that much of it at all, right? But here's the other thing. Here's number two. No one really understands consciousness either. Not really. They do not have this nailed in biology, in medicine, in physics, in any branch of science. Consciousness is a big question mark. And anyone who says otherwise is literally selling you something. Okay? There is nothing settled in science about quantum mechanics or about consciousness, at least not at the level that I've read about it. And I am not professing to be any kind of an expert on this, but I'm trying to make the point that neither is anyone else. They're still trying to figure this stuff out. And you learn when you start diving into the details on this stuff and you move past the New Age guruism where people are trying to sell you things. If you just get past all that nonsense, you come to realize that there are a great many things that we just don't get yet. And I mean a great many things. We're still figuring out gravity, right? And you think you understand gravity. You got something, you drop it, it falls. Oh yeah, the bigger the object, the more gravitational attraction it has. But what is gravity? How does it work? And why is it that, according to astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, as of the other day when I saw him this week on TV, he was saying that 85% of the gravitational forces in the universe don't make a lot of sense right now, right? They don't get why those forces exist. Why is the universe expanding at an accelerating rate right now? They don't know. And they come up with these terms, dark energy, dark matter, right? And as Neil deGrasse Tyson says, they might as well call it Fred and Wilma. Like, they're just names. Dark matter, ooh, sounds so ooh. But it doesn't mean anything, because it's just a term to describe something that they don't yet understand. So the idea that spiritual gurus have some inside line on quantum mechanics and point to some experiment that scientists cannot explain fully and go, that's proof of consciousness, dude. That is taking, very serious work from very serious people who are very dedicated to trying to figure stuff out and just perverting it to make a buck. And it's pathetic, and it's really, really sad that people fall for this. There's a number of things people fall for, or assume science has figured out, or assume that somebody somewhere has figured out, and it's an unwarranted assumption. It would be a better assumption on everybody's part to simply assume that if you don't understand something, maybe nobody else does either. And then look into, well, what is the information about this thing, whatever it is, and approach it fresh and new and unbiased. And instead of deciding that you're going to approach quantum mechanics from the point of view of solving or figuring out or proving consciousness, I mean, what does that even mean, right? If you dive into the details of consciousness, it gets really complicated really fast. This is an intricate topic. And so anyone who thinks that they've got all this figured out, yeah, no way. If you have an honest conversation with a scientist about this stuff, they'll tell you, our understanding goes this far, and it doesn't really go much farther. And we're willing to talk, about this part, but you start moving into this area, and we're going to have to, the forces of this universe, the things that make everything the way they are, what we're able to perceive or know about our universe, these are very, very limited things. The more you learn, the less you know, in some ways. And that, I think, is about one of the wisest things I've ever said on my channel. Because that's and I'll return again to the essence of critical thinking, which is recognizing and being willing to admit that you don't know, and then being able to proceed from that point forward, rather than assuming that you know something that you don't. And that's my main problem with those spiritual New Age gurus, and why I just sort of write them all off as ridiculous, because they are, and that's what I can say about that.